So with that, I'm going to turn you over to the first portion of the show and turn you over to the capable hands of Eric Fritzius.
Howdy. I'm Eric. You guys heard me. We have a number of readers tonight and presenters and storytellers. It's not all going to be reading. It's going to be a variety of different things, including, I believe, song. And the very first person on our list is a man named Larry Staats. Larry is a retired attorney currently living in Columbus, Ohio. And since I'm the spouse of a physician, I think I'm supposed to make some sort of snide comment at this point. But because he's retired, I'll let it live. Larry does old-time Appalachian storytelling, often accompanied by percussive dance and instruments. And he says he entered the storytelling game with a goal of at least entertaining himself, and if others are entertained, then that's just collateral damage. Larry Staats.
Okay, this evening is, in fact, this weekend is supposed to be educational as I understand it. So I have a musical instrument here, and who knows what it is. Well, looks like you're going to learn something then, but it's called a nose flute. And see, you're now laughing. It's an instrument that gets no respect. No respect at all. And of course, being a nose flute, it's played by the nose, but this is a concert quality nose flute. It's no ordinary nose flute. It's the same nose flute that's played in the nose flute section of the Boston Philharmonic Orchestra. That's right. That's right. So we will play you a little tune here as we get started. Now, some musicians play by ear, and I've tried that, but it doesn't work. So I play by nose. That's what I have. We're going to try some here. When the Saints go marching in, I've never done it holding a mic, but we'll try it. Well, tonight, I want to talk to you about recycling. That's a big thing going on these days, you know. In fact, right out here on the porch, there's containers to put different kind of cans and bottles and things like that. But I grew up in Sandyville here in Jackson County, about 10 miles north of here on US 21. And back in those days, that's a long time ago, we were just coming out of the Great Depression. And then World War II came along. And rationing in World War II, and boy, the times were really tough for people around Sandyville. And everybody recycles. We didn't have no choice. We had to recycle just to get along. And some of the people there were really good at recycling. And some of them may have carried it to extreme. And I'm thinking about Kenny and Emma. And they were an old couple. Now, I grew up with my grandma and grandpa. And my grandma and grandpa both used snuff, honest, square snuff. But Kenny and Emma, they weren't quite so refined. They chewed tobacco. Plain old tobacco, you know. And it was red man tobacco. It came in a tin foil poker. You ever seen that? Yeah. And the way they did it was they would hold that poke open, and they would take two fingers on their hand, right hand, and their thumb, and they'd stick it down in that poke, and they would grab as much tobacco as they could get. And then they'd tilt their head back and cram that tobacco right down in their mouth, like that. And then they'd waller it around in their mouth until it became good. And then they would take that hood and push it past their teeth out in their jaw and park it there until they needed to chew it some more, you know. Well, what they would do was every morning after breakfast, they would get themselves a big chew of tobacco. And they would chew that tobacco all day. And just before supper, well, they would take it out and put it in front of the fire to dry out. And then after supper, after it dried out, they'd get their pipes. Now, both of them smoked a pipe. Okay? And they would put that dried out coated tobacco in the pipes. And then they would take a kitchen match. You ever see these old guys strike a kitchen match? Now, the men would do it like Kenny. You got to raise your leg like that. Make your pants tight across your butt. And you like that. You do that. No, you don't do that. Anyway, they smoked their pipe. And they would smoke their pipe until that tobacco was all just ashes. And then they would, no, I can't do that this way. Knock those ashes out of the pipes into their hand. And then they would take their finger and they would stir those ashes around in the palm of their hand until they were a fine powder, you know, just like snuff. And then they would take that ground up ashes, and to get the last bit of nicotine out of it, they would snuff up their nose. And then they would take a rag about this big, and they would blow their nose into that rag. And then they would polish your shoes with the rag. Now, folks, that's recycling. And I thank you for your patience and your attention.